They will call you obsessed. They will say you've lost your balance, your grip on real life. They will mock your intensity, whisper behind your back, and urge you to slow down, to be normal. But you weren't born to be balanced. You were born to burn. In a world that worships mediocrity and celebrates comfort, the one who dares to pursue purpose with obsession is a threat, a mirror, a reminder of everything they're too afraid to become. Let them talk. You are not here to blend in. You are here to rise. You are here to conquer. You are here to awaken something ancient in your soul, the fire that refuses to die, the calling that refuses to be silenced. Nietzsche once wrote, "He who has a why to live can bear almost any how." But what he didn't say is this: the moment you find your why, the world will test it. Every distraction, every failure, every storm will rise up to see if you're serious. Because purpose is not given, it is earned, and only those obsessed enough to bleed for it ever claim it. History does not remember the balanced. It remembers the possessed. Look at Edison working 20 hours a day, failing 10,000 times just to summon light from glass. Look at Carnegie, obsessed with building a bridge of steel when the world said it was impossible. Look at Disney, laughed out of banks, bankrupt and broken, still drawing mice because he saw a kingdom no one else could see. These men weren't chasing comfort, they were chasing destiny, and they weren't interested. They were consumed. And that is the difference between the average and the immortal. The average man wants results. The immortal man becomes possessed by purpose. He doesn't ask whether or not he'll make it. He decides that nothing will stop him. If you're waiting for perfect timing, forget it. If you're waiting for motivation, good luck. Purpose does not knock. You must hunt it down. You must be willing to suffer for it, to die to your old self, to walk alone through the furnace and come out forged like iron. The world will tempt you to numb your calling, with comfort, with distractions, with the slow death of mediocrity. But obsession is the cure, the purest kind of madness, the fuel that separates the legendary from the forgotten. You will not find greatness in balance. You will find it in the man who wakes up hungry, who stares into the abyss with fire in his chest and says, "I don't care what it takes, I must become this, or I will die trying." Because true purpose is not a preference, it's a requirement, a sacred burden, an ache that never leaves you. And if you don't follow it, it haunts you forever. Ask yourself, what are you here to build? What are you willing to break yourself for? What are you willing to lose friends over, sacrifice sleep for, bleed for, be misunderstood for? If the answer is nothing, then understand, you are still asleep. But if there is something in your chest that refuses to die, a vision, a voice, a storm, then feed it, nurture it, let it possess you, because that is your soul trying to wake you up. And this world? It doesn't need more people chasing likes, chasing money, chasing comfort. It needs warriors. It needs visionaries. It needs the obsessed, the ones who would rather be hated for their fire than loved for their silence. You want to change your life? Stop asking for permission. Stop playing nice with your dreams. Clarity begins the moment you stop lying to yourself about what you really want. You're not here to merely survive. You are here to create, to shape the world with the sheer force of your will, to let your obsession become your oxygen, because when purpose fuels your every breath, even the impossible starts to look inevitable. There will be days you want to quit, days you will hear the voice that says, "What's the point?" But if you've chosen the path of obsession, you already know. The point is, you were born for this. Purpose isn't found in comfort. It's found in pain, in discipline, in the repetition of sacrifice. It's found when you choose progress over popularity, mastery over mediocrity. No one remembers the man who played it safe. They remember the man who refused to back down, the one who gave everything for a dream no one else could see. You must be willing to lose your mind for it. Because the rational man says, "Be careful," but the obsessed man says, "Burn the ships." And that is what makes the difference. Not talent, not luck, but obsession. Not the shallow desire to do well, but the ruthless, unshakable need to become. So when they ask you, "Why are you working so hard? Why don't you take a break? Why are you always pushing?" You look them in the eyes and say, "Because I am not here to be liked. I am here to build a legacy." And that requires obsession. They will never understand the fire inside you. because they've spent their lives watering it down, taught to suppress, to compromise, to obey. And you were made to rebel, not out of arrogance, but necessity. Because when a man discovers who he could be, the man he is becomes unbearable. Belief isn't just the first step, it's the foundation. Because if you don't believe in yourself with a ferocity that borders on delusion, the world will eat you alive. You can have all the talent in the world, but if your mind is still chained to the opinions of weaker men, you will never rise. You must believe in your vision so violently that reality has no choice but to kneel to it. When they laughed at Tesla, he built towers. When they doubted Ford, he built an industry. When they mocked Oprah, she built an empire. These were not lucky people. These were possessed people, so intoxicated by belief that failure became fuel. And that's the secret. The obsessed don't fear failure. They require it. Because every fall is another strike of the hammer, forging them into something stronger. Every rejection is proof that they're pushing beyond the limits the world set for them. Belief is not a mood. It's not a motivational poster. It is war. And every day you wake up in a battlefield where doubt wages war against destiny. So how do you win? You starve the lie. You silence the doubt. You suffocate the weakness with action so massive, so undeniable, that fear has no space to breathe. You must condition your mind like a warrior sharpens his blade. No rust, no compromise, no softness, because there will be days when everything in you screams to quit. But obsession has no off switch. Purpose doesn't sleep. And belief, true, all-consuming belief, won't let you quit. It won't even let you rest. It will whisper to you at 3 a.m., you were made for more. It will haunt you when you try to settle. It will pull you back into the fight because you weren't built for comfort. You were built to conquer. And that vision, that burning image in your mind of who you must become, that is sacred. That is your soul speaking. Do not dismiss it. Do not delay it. Do not bury it beneath the dead weight of average people's opinions. You think in visions for a reason. You dream in futures that haven't happened for a reason. You feel this hunger for a reason, because your destiny is real. But only obsession will bring it to life. There's no room for lukewarm. There's no space for maybe. You either move toward your destiny with force, or you rot in the mediocrity that fear built for you. Clarity is not found in comfort. Clarity comes through immersion, when you give yourself fully to the pursuit, when you lose yourself in the mission, when the line between you and your purpose vanishes, and you become it. And when that happens, when you become the thing you're chasing, when every breath, every step, every moment aligns with your why, you become unbreakable. Because now, you're not chasing a goal. You are the goal. You embody the mission. No longer divided, no longer debating, just forward, with fire in your chest and steel in your spine. But understand this, the moment you choose that path, life will test you with pain. It will break you down, strip you bare, and ask, how bad do you really want it? And in that moment, most people fold. But not you, because your vision is not a fantasy. It is an order, a command from the deepest part of your being. The weak see adversity as a wall. The obsessed see it as a mirror, a chance to prove they're worthy of the destiny they say they want. So let the storm come. Let the world misunderstand you. Let the nights be long and the road be brutal, because every great destiny demands a price. And you are not afraid to pay it. This is where most break. When the fire gets too hot, when the silence stretches too long, when the reward doesn't come fast enough. But the obsessed do not measure progress with applause. They measure it in pain, in the weight they carry when no one's watching, in the discipline it takes to keep showing up even when everything in them wants to disappear. Because obsession demands sacrifice, not the kind you post about, not the kind that wins sympathy, but the private, brutal kind, the early mornings where the world is still dark and so are you. The lonely nights, when your friends are laughing and your dreams are bleeding, the choices that no one claps for, but that forge you. Discipline is the religion of the obsessed, not motivation, not inspiration, but command, the ability to do what must be done, even when you feel nothing at all. And yes, there will be days like that. days when the fire inside flickers, when your legs are shaking, your mind is screaming, and the path feels too long, too cold, too uncertain. But listen to me, that's the moment you earn it. That's the moment most fold. That's the moment your obsession distinguishes you from every ordinary soul who almost chased greatness but stopped when it got hard. You must become the kind of person who finds glory in repetition. The kind of person who doesn't need variety or novelty or praise, just a task, a mission, a path. And that's where your power multiplies. Because when you stop negotiating with your purpose, when you stop bargaining with your destiny, and instead make it your standard, you eliminate the gap between where you are and who you were born to be. That is how you become inevitable. The masses worship balance. But balance doesn't build empires. Balance doesn't rewrite history. Balance doesn't shake the foundations of the world. Obsession does. And no, it won't look pretty. It won't feel safe. There will be days your hands shake as you write, as you train, as you build, because you've stretched yourself to the edge and then beyond it. But that edge, that's your cathedral. That's where your mind sharpens and your spirit expands. That's where you learn that discomfort is not your enemy. It's your initiation. Pain becomes your teacher. Doubt becomes your companion. And every scar becomes a medal, proof that you kept going when it would have been easier to turn back. You want peace? Then die as you are. But if you want power, the kind that echoes after you're gone, then you must bleed into the work. You must marry your purpose, and you must honor that union with sacrifice. This world doesn't bend for dabblers. It bends for those who become one with their mission, who pour their soul into it so completely that there is no distinction between the man and the message. Look at the greats. Look at Ali, training in silence while the world slept, calling himself a champion before anyone believed. Look at Lincoln, holding a broken, divided nation together with nothing but conviction and grief. Look at Kobe, in the gym before the lights came on, sweating through demons most never saw. What made them great wasn't magic. It was obsession. The refusal to give anything less than everything. The audacity to say, I will master this, or I will die trying. You must build your life around the thing that calls to you, not squeeze it into the cracks of convenience. Not wait until you feel ready, because obsession doesn't ask for permission, it demands dominance. And here's the brutal truth. You don't rise to the level of your goals, you fall to the level of your systems. And your systems are built by discipline. So ask yourself, do you wake with purpose or with excuses? Do you move with strategy or emotion? Do you honor your future with your present actions or betray it for the cheap high of comfort? This is not self-help. This is warfare, a daily battle between the man you are and the God you could become. And every choice tips the scale. You are either building your destiny or you are slowly digging the grave of your potential. So decide, right now, because you don't get to do this halfway. You don't get to casually flirt with greatness. You either marry the mission or you die wandering. Who are you when the noise fades? When there's no one to applaud you, no one to validate you, no spotlight, no reward? Who are you in the silence, in the solitude where no one's watching? That's where the real work is done, not in the moments of hype, not in the highlight reels, but in the long, empty hours of becoming. You were not born for applause. You were not built to chase trophies. You were built to embody a mission, to become the kind of person whose very existence radiates purpose. The kind of person who walks into a room, and without saying a word, the atmosphere changes. But you don't get that by dabbling. You don't get that by reading books and making vision boards and saying affirmations you don't act on. You get that by becoming obsessed, by letting the fire inside you burn away everything false, by letting the suffering shape you instead of break you. You are not your past. You are not your failures. You are not the voices that tried to bury your ambition under a mountain of shame and mediocrity. You are what you choose to become. And the more violently you pursue that identity, the more the world has no choice but to respond. Because the world bends to those who refuse to bend to it. Nietzsche said, "He who has a why to live for can bear almost anyhow." But he wasn't just talking about survival. He was talking about dominion. about rising above the chaos of existence and commanding your future, about forging your own meaning in a universe that offers none by default. And if you are to do that, you must die to who you were. Let it fall. Let it rot. Let the weak version of you burn, so the one you were destined to be can rise. Reinvention is not a luxury. It is a requirement. And it will hurt. You will lose people. You will lose habits. You will lose versions of yourself that once felt safe. But let them go. Because the man you are becoming does not need what the old you relied on. He needs edge. He needs clarity. He needs resilience forged in fire. You have to be willing to break your own heart to remain loyal to your destiny. Because your future doesn't care how much you've suffered. It only asks, what will you do with it? You will be tested. There will be chaos. There will be days when your plans fall apart, when your back hits the wall and your vision gets blurry. But purpose-driven obsession doesn't fold. It adapts. It adjusts its grip. It changes its stance. But it never lets go of the mission. You become like water, fluid, unbreakable, always moving forward. Because when you're obsessed, obstacles are not threats, they're fuel. They don't stop the mission. They sharpen it. Resilience isn't just about bouncing back. It's about coming back stronger. It's about being so committed to the outcome that not even the universe itself can stop you. So what if it takes longer than you thought? So what if it hurts more than you expected? Your destiny doesn't run on your schedule. It runs on your devotion. And devotion means staying in the fight when logic says walk away. It means building when no one believes, trusting when there's no evidence, and moving even when your knees buckle. Because obsession sees what the world doesn't. It sees what could be, and it will not rest until it is. So wake up every day with fire in your blood, with intolerance for average, with hatred for stagnation, and with love, yes, love, for the process that is molding you into something unrecognizable. You are not here to repeat. You are here to redefine. You are not here to blend in. You are here to build something eternal. Let them mock you. Let them question your sanity. Let them talk. You'll be too busy becoming immortal through the work. Because while the world waits for permission, you are carving your name into time with blood, sweat, and unrelenting vision. That is the power of purpose-driven obsession. You want to know what true power is? It's not loud. It's not flashy. It doesn't scream for attention. True power is quiet, relentless, unshakable. It's the man who keeps showing up when everyone else has gone home. It's the woman who refuses to quit on her vision, even as the world laughs, doubts, and walks away. It's the soul that says, "This is mine. I was born for this, and I will not stop until it is done." That's not ambition. That's obsession, a sacred fire that doesn't burn out because it is you. This isn't about success anymore. This is about destiny, about becoming the kind of person who no longer needs permission, praise, or even proof, because your conviction is louder than any voice in the room. The obsessed don't seek comfort. They seek alignment. They don't seek balance. They seek dominance over their weaknesses, mastery over their habits, and absolute clarity over their mission. You think it's about working harder? No. It's about becoming someone who cannot live without pursuit. Someone for whom rest without purpose feels like death. Someone who would rather bleed for something meaningful than breathe for something safe. There is a version of you, buried beneath doubt, delay, and distraction, who is unrecognizable. A version of you that moves like thunder and speaks like prophecy. A version of you who doesn't ask what if, but declares I will. But you don't meet that version by dabbling. You meet him in the fire, in the repetition, in the suffering that burns away the falsehood, in the solitude where your demons scream and your purpose answers back louder. This is your awakening, not the kind you wait for, the kind you wrestle from the hands of fate, the kind that requires blood in your teeth and fire in your lungs, because obsession doesn't whisper. It roars, and it tells the universe, I'm coming for what's mine. Do you hear that? That's not noise. That's the sound of the world making way. That's the sound of mediocrity shattering beneath your footsteps. That's the sound of your old self, the timid, the hesitant, the almost dying. And in its place, a warrior, a builder, a force of nature who does not ask for a seat at the table, but builds his own and makes the world kneel at the gravity of his purpose. So rise, not with fear, but with fire. not with hesitation, but with holy rage against everything trying to silence your calling. The world has enough distracted minds, enough lukewarm ambition, enough hollow dreams and empty promises. What it doesn't have is you, fully alive, fully focused, fully obsessed. That is your superpower. When you finally stop chasing the approval of the world and start chasing the mission etched into your soul, everything changes. Because the moment you decide, truly decide, that this life will be spent in pursuit of one thing, one purpose, one obsession, you become unbreakable. Not because life gets easier, but because you stop needing it to. Your heart beats for something higher, and your spirit? It is no longer chained to the mediocre, it is bound to the stars. So go, build, bleed, rise, and never ever look back. Because from this moment forward, you are no longer a man. You are no longer a woman, you are a storm, a force, a destiny incarnate, and nothing will stop you now. This is the power of purpose-driven obsession. Let the world remember your name forever.